You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Nashville After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Nashville After Show.
Harlem Shake It.
Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness.
Hey, guys. Bing is for doing, and we're here doing the Nashville AFTERBUZZ show for Nashville Season 1, Episode 13.
Woo!
We apologize. We're a little late because we were rudely interrupted and had to go in and do the Harlem Shake tonight for the
American Idol
show.
So if you were tuning into American Idol, that was us in that dance party that you saw.
That was
our after show, actually.
You'll see us shaking it like we've got it.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture.
There you go.
Hey, yeah, shake it. No, never mind. Wrong genre.
You're right.
All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about here tonight, so we'll get into it. I'm JJ Jurgens.
I am Lauren Leonelli.
Whitney Lane.
Jenifer Golden.
Hey, hey.
Yay.
All right. Well, let's start out talking about how about Gunnar and Scarlett and the towel in the
About came
behind the
off.
scenes.
About fell off.
It made me nervous.
Me
Made me
too.
really nervous. Also, her speaking makes me nervous. It's so quick. I never know what she's saying.
It's so difficult. We talk about this every show, and I really just don't understand how nobody on the set or even watching the dailies back goes,
Right.
Why can't we understand editing maybe even? We're like,
Slow her down, slow-mo.
You know why? It's because I think they know the script so well that they know exactly what she's supposed to say. So for an outside viewer, we're just listening to it and we're like, what the heck? But they
I've
know. They
never-
know exactly what she's supposed to be
I've
saying.
never seen any show actually set to air that's like this. Like, someone said, that's a go.
Yeah.
Play that one.
right.
Yeah.
Like with all the
Send
people that
that.
have to see it.
Right.
someone should have said-
Send that one to ABC.
Which we noticed tonight, like when you can understand her is when she's singing. So maybe
Right.
she needs to sing all of her
We
lines like
suggest-
the Nashville musical.
She can speak only in song.
Yeah, I think
she
she
sounds
should.
great.
She has a great voice, so I think she should just go ahead and try that.
Next week, we'll be.
Well,
no,
next
2
week we
weeks
don't have a
from
show.
now.
2 weeks from now, Scarlett, sing all of your lines.
We'll
Exactly.
be waiting. We will.
Well, she
be
was
waiting.
live tweeting tonight. Too bad it was on a different time zone. But what we would tweet to her is, slow down.
That's our little tip. So let's talk about Gunnar's brother coming and
Oh,
the
Jason.
reaction. Yes.
He's a little liar.
He
Jason.
also must have aged in prison because his beard has gray.
We noticed that this time out of nowhere, we're like, is his beard gray? It was gray.
Faux show.
I've never found him to be the most attractive man on this.
I don't find him.
However-
to be. I find him to be somewhere in the middle.
Can I please interrupt us all for a second? Whitney, we all think Deacon is very attractive, but Whitney has a very, very
I gotta keep it together.
aggressive crush on
He's one
Deacon.
good-looking man.
And our viewers are still requesting for us to have him on our casting
we
couch.
really want him to
Listen,
come
if
here.
anybody's
Yeah.
got a connection to our friend Deacon, who every time he walks on screen, we're like, whoa,
Yeah.
menopause. Like, hot flashes. Whatever's happening is happening. And it's just, he's so
Smoking.
attractive.
Yeah.
We would love to hear you guys write in and tell
him
us.
on
Beg him to be
Beg
on
him,
this show.
because we tweet him because we would love to have him on. Marissa, back us up. Yes.
I agree. He's very attractive.
Where's
I
Kathy
still
Kelly?
love
She's
him.
got to do this.
Right, I still love him from Whose Line
Line?
Is It
Yeah.
Anyway?
Yes, that and
He
also
was in comedy.
Which makes him even more attractive.
Oh,
because
exactly.
he's
Versatile.
he
Yes.
has a small part on the
Thought you were gonna say
Disney
something
show. He has a small part on the Disney. Oh, pff, I was not going to say what Jen, the Jew. Okay.
What does the Jewish part have to do with it?
No, nothing. I'm just calling you by your handle. He has a
At
small,
Lauren Leonelli.
he has a small part on the show, on the Disney Channel show called Jesse. He plays the dad in the show too. He's in, and that's like a Disney show. So look, he's like all over the place.
Okay, so let's talk about people named Jesse. when we were watching Full House growing up, how hot was Uncle Jesse?
Very hot.
So now that we're adult women watching this show, this guy is like the equivalent to Uncle Jesse.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Without the mullet.
And the music is here, too.
Yeah, no, he's super hot. But Whitney Lane, our host over
But
here,
Uncle Jesse could sing too.
Uncle
Oh,
Jesse
yeah.
could
Yeah,
sing.
good point,
Have
good point.
mercy.
Oh,
There you
my
go.
God.
He, but Whitney is very funny to watch the show with, and I almost want to record her and then show you all clips because she is like, oh, every time he comes on. And then she said she wanted to. I said I would make out with him, and she said hardcore.
But it was a serious oh.
She edited
hard.
She
core.
edited.
You guys, I'm embarrassed. Starting to sweat.
Listen,
It was great.
It's hot in here. That's why you're sweating.
Oh,
But no,
goodness.
you editorialized are editorializing.
No, I'm actually the worst person to watch a show with because I talk through the entire thing.
Do you do that?
I do.
But this
my
is-
roommate doesn't
kidding,
even
I know.
speak. I speak to her and she never responds. It's really the worst.
But this is why this is good for us. We have this outlet. We all talk about it because it's hard not to talk. We think all you guys watching the show probably think the same
Yeah.
thing. The whole time you're like, oh my God, did that just happen? Did he just say that? So that's why we like to do
They
this.
ask us to actually talk while watching TV,
You
which is
can
great.
watch us and listen to all the things we're saying, and then possibly let us know if you have any other topics that you want to bring up because we don't. I mean, there's so many things we don't cover. There's only things we're catching, like how hot Deacon is, which I'm sure you all agree with.
Number one topic.
We get stuck on a lot.
But,
Why wasn't he in a towel?
Right.
maybe
because
soon.
Gunners was dropping low.
And what did he
Popular
say? Now we heard that Gunnar tweeted live tonight. What did you say?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was reading it. He was like, man, first scene that we shot after Christmas shouldn't have had so much candy. So you know how it goes. Any actor is probably like, man, look at me. Half
I
naked.
mean, I'm not complaining. I'd totally make out with him.
Scarlett would have totally made out with them. You know she liked it a little bit. I can't wait to see that
She wanted that
develop.
towel to drop.
She was pretending not to look, but clearly then she started making comments about it. She was like, "Oh, well, we have rules about being naked in this house," but it was hard to understand what she was saying.
was
But it was
gonna say,
something
how
like
did you
that.
know
It
what
was
she said?
I
You
deciphered.
could hear.
We should put on captions.
And then they got the call from Waddy White, which is super exciting because apparently Rayna's starting her own label.
Yes.
That was kind of a surprise. I mean, I knew
Also-
she had talked about it, but for her to really be doing
Well,
it.
she said in the last episode that she was like, yeah, okay, could do that. But they didn't even comment on that the rest of the episode. It was so quick. It was
Well, the brother
Yeah.
kind of overshadowed it, I think, because then he came. They were setting up for the show. He comes, and then immediately Gunnar was like, "Oh shoot!"
Plus, you heard Gunnar talking about how Jason was really the musician. Like he grew up having that talent, but kind of had to take care of Gunnar, so he put it on the on
and
the
he feels
wayside.
guilty
You know,
because
he walked in there and he was like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And then he was like, "I don't know what I'm doing here." And he was like, "You get out of here!"
There you go.
Love it.
Nice, ladies.
in case anybody needed to know
Great
that.
slip in
Yeah,
right
good job,
there.
good job.
But
You
I have
made
a
it.
question, actually, Marissa. Can we film us watching the show? Is that possible?
Sure, why not?
Good,
Set up
we
the
should.
camera, put it on
We're at our
Discord.
best.
Live
This
comment.
one, Whitney Lane over here is hysterical.
I don't even want to know what I look like when I'm watching that show.
Into it.
Look,
We-
the show.
and upset.
The show is exciting. This episode wasn't like the last episode was super exciting. There was a lot of stuff that went on. This
sad I
episode
missed it with you guys.
was a little more emotional, dealing with the divorce and all that. So it wasn't as like, oh my gosh type. But most of the time, this show has a lot of those moments where you're
Right.
and it's like we know you're all reacting that way at home, and we want you to see how we're genuinely reacting to what happens.
It looks. I mean, it's like girls' night.
Yeah.
We're
For
like
sure.
sitting there. We had a little bit of wine tonight. Whatever.
It's fine.
Listen, it's Nashville.
We're all of age.
when in Nashville. Drink.
Do
wine.
as the Nashvillians do.
Exactly.
We should have had whiskey if we're really going to be
Listen, don't tell me.
southern people, but
Whiskey.
I don't know about that.
Yep.
well, anyways, let's talk about this real quick because I just want to finish about Waddy and how exciting!
Oh my gosh.
I mean, Scarlett and Gunnar, obviously we
You're
knew this
more
was gonna
excited than
happen.
them on the episode.
No, I mean, I just think it's awesome. I mean, obviously, I don't think they were going to share it with other people because they're like, I don't know. Plus, it was Jason, that whole thing. But, like, wow, that's huge.
Experiencing that moment with them was cool because you can just feel how exciting that must be. You follow them on this journey. They've been working really hard, but also just all of us are artists in our own way. Like to get that call where it's like, this could be your big thing. You're
Your
like,
big break.
I'm just a little. Well, I guess okay. I was gonna say I'm a little confused why they put it in this episode when they packed it in with the brother stuff and all that jazz. But I think that's probably what made them also extra cautious about having him in their house because
Yeah.
they are on their
they
way
don't
to
want-
success, and they are really the squeaky clean duo to their knowledge. Clearly, we know that Gunnar's got a little bit under his skeletons in his closet.
Under his towel.
He's got a little under his towel.
Hey now.
But but maybe that's why they sort of planted it in there and then like took it right away
A little bit.
And then pulled that towel right off.
Exactly, that was gone.
Dropped it.
You guys
They dropped it like it's hot.
Yeah.
Well, let's also talk about other big news. Let's talk about Avery getting his $100,000
the worst.
check.
Is he not the worst sometimes?
He's the worst.
And how about the reappearance of Haley trying to get her way? And
I
now
like
with
her.
him.
Is she gonna
Do you like her with him though?
Is
what's
she going to become a little snake? We were all kind of were like, is she trying to get back at Scarlett? Like, what is she? Or is she just doing her job?
I think she's pretty honest with everybody. She's like, look, I'm out for my career. Doing this will make my career. I got to do these things for my career. I can't mess with you and your drama because of my career. Like, good. I'd rather your honesty.
Yeah, I think it's true. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think it also might be a good way to get her back in because I think people like her. We liked her, and I don't think any of us really care for Marilyn and that whole storyline a little bit. Now that she has another young hottie already, like lined up next, maybe it's a good way to kind of edge her out. Yeah,
and plus he's definitely like Avery's, feeling the other side of the influence from Wyclef's character Dominic. And every time he talks to Dominic on the phone, he goes back and tells Marilyn off. And it's like, maybe this is going to end that balance between him trying to decide who he really wants to listen to and go with. And clearly, he has a decision ahead of him with this check. And
I think that meant he said yes already.
Right, but that's the problem is that's what he's thinking about.
Yeah.
Checks.
Yeah, because, I mean, honestly, Marilyn's looking out for herself in the end. She wants the money, too, so I don't doubt that she would go and try to make Avery a big success.
Right.
Even though she has other people, obviously, she's a manager. She manages other people. But I think he's just like, man, $100,000 right now, that's awesome. But, I mean, that could just be gone in a second.
Yeah, and she even made a point where don't just, like, go off on the first offer. Like, you could get $1 million offer. Like, this is not enough. Yeah, right. I mean,
you have to build your clout a little bit to then raise the stakes.
Like, people want you a little more. And we've talked about this before. He's a very fearful person. He is afraid that this is going to be it. He's got to sell his soul to get where he needs to go. He doesn't have faith in himself. So he gets an offer and he's like, okay, let's do it.
He wants the easy, quick path.
Yeah.
And Scarlett and Gunnar, who are working at the Bluebird and really just trucking along, keep hitting it big because they're doing what feels natural. They're playing these like little live shows and testing out their music, and they're doing the publishing deal. But you know what? At the same time, they're doing the publishing deal. Maybe he was like, well, that's what they got. That's taking them to the next level. Maybe I need to do the publishing.
Yeah.
Because for him, he should be also the writer, not necessarily the artist. Like when we were talking to our friends, Leanna and Ben. Sometimes you got to go the route of being the writer.
Yeah, true. Sometimes that's
I don't think he'll
way
be able
in.
to handle that though. He wants
to be in front.
He wants to be that star. He wants to be the new up and coming artist that everyone is fanning themselves over, and he is jumping too quickly to all these deals and things like that.
Right.
But on the show, do you think the characters hear his music and they're like, "That's good music"?
I mean, yeah, I think he probably has a sound for certain people because it's like that kind of crossover between rock and country, and a lot of people like that now.
And there's a niche for that, too, and I feel like, there's a lot of people that the same type of music comes out of Nashville, and maybe people are really interested in hearing just a little twist on it, a little different take on it. I mean, I don't personally think it's anything great.
I like straight old country, but you know what?
We know that.
I mean, I'd be okay with some version of whatever you described his music as.
Yeah.
Just not his music.
Yeah, well.
Well, and tonight in this episode, this was the first time we really didn't have any music. We had like two songs.
Yes.
And
beginning and end.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's surprising.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely more an emotional storytelling episode for sure.
Yeah. That's okay. They don't have to hit us over the head with music.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Think about all the production that has to happen to go beyond. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And they've just done a lot with the shows and the tour,
Also,
so
they have to pay for those songs every time they sing them because somebody else wrote them.
Right.
Yeah. They then have to perform them.
But you know what they don't have to pay for? A real set with an audience behind them because Juliette, I just blocked that's not so good. I saw Juliette was standing in front of a green screen when she was telling her crew and her musicians and everyone like, hey, everyone's really liking our music and we're going to keep going with it. And I could just tell behind her that backdrop of the empty audience and the chairs and whatever in the arena. It was totally green screen.
They cheated.
We caught that. Did you guys catch that? We caught that.
The movie magic.
Maybe it was too expensive to rent a stadium.
Smoke and mirrors. Hey.
Or they were there before and they reshot.
You know what? It was only like 10 seconds. I'm not bagging on. I'm just saying we caught it. We could see.
caught it.
Because we're
it's
super
like
fans of the show.
No, it's like seeing the boom in the screen.
Oh, no, that's worse. Who does
That's a
that?
no.
That's pretty bad.
Marissa's like, haha, she's right.
Oh, jeez.
Juliette was a bit diva-esque.
Yeah,
this
let's talk about her.
She got,
Tantrums
you know, she's really all about trying this new music out, and I think a lot of it has influence from Deacon and just like being a true artist. But man,
she's learning some things from the right people and learning the wrong things, I think, from herself.
And I think Deacon kind of said that at the end of the episode, he's like, you're going to surround yourself around the right people or good people, something to that effect. And I think she's just a little confused, and she's young and she's trying to find a good team. And I think that, you know, Glenn is... It's probably a bad thing that he quit. I mean...
Oh, I think it will be. I think it's going to come back to bite her in the butt.
But she's definitely just in that, like, I'm gonna do what I want. That's what I say. Like, if I could, she could at the end of every sentence, I think she could say her line and then go, I'm gonna do what I want at the end of every sentence. I think that would totally fit for her. She's just in that mode, like, don't tell me what to do. I'm in charge.
She was like that from the beginning of the episode this time. She started off that way all the way until the very end, you know? Yep. And I liked when Deacon called her out and was like, I don't like that side of you, you know, because enough already.
And that affected
keeps treating
her.
people. I mean, knocking on everybody's door in the middle of the night and calling,
woman,
you know,
there's a time and a place for everything. Like, how about in the morning over coffee?
That's the problem. Maybe it comes with age, but she does have to realize you have to have a good team. You have to have good people to support you and be there. You can't do it on your own. So she's got to start realizing Glenn's been there the whole time.
And you got to make them want to work for you, you know, doing that in the middle of the night. She doesn't want to get up the next day.
She doesn't understand the concept of, like, motivation and encouragement because she's just there. And whatever. But I think that they're, like... In every episode, we see that she takes things to the extreme. So, like, if somebody gives her a life lesson, she then goes to, like, she just, like, takes it and runs. She's just, like...
She meets a boy, she just marries him.
Exactly. Like, there's no real middle ground with her.
Very black and white.
Right.
But that's what makes her character interesting.
Whatever,
it's like
she's
you
a
never
millennial.
know.
She's a millennial, guys.
So am I.
So am I. So are a lot of us are here.
She just, you know, she just kind of like that. That's what makes her interesting. And she kind of pops off at any given moment. And it's not surprising that she was very diva-ish this episode, but she really pushed the boundaries on this one, knocking on the doors, yelling, "Does anyone else want to quit?"
And her assistant.
Wait, and then the walk she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
That was intense.
Then what about the end when she kind of redeems herself a little bit and invites her mom to come and stay with her?
That's so sweet, but then we see the damn preview, and it's like, God, it's a roller coaster of emotions, and I need less anxiety when I watch TV.
Well, I think it's about time, though. I mean, if she's there to support her mom, she's kind of started to, like, grow in that sense with the relationship with her mom, and hopefully it'll work out, although the preview for next week, I don't know if it's going to be the best thing, but, you know, she can be there for 2 weeks.
But I don't want her mom to relapse. I would almost wish that preview was a lie, and it was really just she was sitting down drinking water because she was tired or something.
Well, you never know because they definitely tricked us with this Rayna James breakdown.
Yes.
For sure, right? I mean,
She's still
definitely
recovered.
Were tricked by Rayna James. She for sure. Whew, I got excited. We all thought like she's gonna have a breakdown. She's gonna faint on the stage. Deacon's gonna come pick her up and rescue her. That's what I was thinking.
I mean, I was
and then Liam.
And then she like got it together and started singing. But they tricked us. So they could have tricked us with.
They tricked us a lot this episode.
But
yeah,
that's
okay
with
good,
the trickery.
Though.
Yeah,
but make it like something good that you're gonna trick us with, not like a 3-second stall.
We did say it was anticlimactic.
It was a little anticlimactic this episode, but you know, I mean, again, it was very emotional. They had to push the story along with the divorce and the girls and all that.
Sad. So. I did like that the song was playing over that conversation because I was not ready.
The divorce conversation.
I wasn't personally ready for someone else's divorce, and as much drama had already ensued in this episode, I'm glad they had their own little family moment. Oh, and then at the end.
Wait.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Hold that thought.
Sorry. Oh, God.
Let's talk about Rayna and Liam first.
Oh.
You know, and we talked about it, too, because he's kind of like the guy, no strings attached. She doesn't have any real connection with him, so why not go get drunk with him and kind of confide your feelings? Because he can't judge you. He doesn't know your whole past relationship. And I think that's what she needed for a night. I wish she would have made some different decisions, but, I mean, if you're going to open up to someone and you don't want it to be, like, such a dramatic situation, Liam was the guy for her.
At least she didn't do the sex and make that decision.
Yeah.
The sex would have
like
been...
Teddy.
Yeah, when she walked in the door, I was afraid that's the decision she was going to make.
Same.
So I was actually glad, even though it was awkward and painful to watch her break down in the bathroom.
Oh, that was
pounds her. He
with
pounced.
Oh yeah, and then we were gonna talk about as women. We were gonna talk about Liam pouncing Rayna on the couch.
He was like a weird giraffe
It
thing.
was a little much, and
It
I was
was-
like, "Oh, back it on up."
A little kangaroo-ish when he bounced on top of her, and all of us went, And so, any of you men watching at home, we don't like that.
In case you thought we didn't know.
We don't like when you jump across furniture and land on top of us.
Or curl your back in a way that looks like you might have scoliosis.
And then shove your tongue down our
Listen,
throats.
scoliosis is fine, but don't purposely do that look.
We just don't like that. We're just saying, do
be
a little
smooth.
suavecito about
He was
it.
like he dove into her like a
Like a
pterodactyl.
gargoyle. Like a gargoyle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not a
no.
pterodactyl.
It wasn't
That
cute.
was
Sorry, we're spoiling this for you, Marissa, but it
know.
wasn't cute. You'll see what we're talking about.
The more you know.
It was weird. And then but at that point then I was like, okay, wait. I think so she stopped kissing him at the door, and then she went in the room, and now she stopped again. I think she's having a moment where
She knows.
This is when I was like, okay, this isn't going to go down tonight. The sex is not going down.
It wasn't that for her, I think, but it was someone just to be like, "Let me tell you what's going on."
And she explained that later, and she said that to him, and he was there for her. And I was thinking in my mind, like, this guy really wants to sit and talk about this with her, but he was there for her. He was nice.
No, he was genuinely concerned, I think, which was surprising to see because it's like Liam, this producer dude who's just like, I'm a rock star.
Well, it's nice to know that people genuinely care about her and that she's disciplined enough to make the right decisions, unlike our friend Theodore.
Well, so then that night ended with they talked and they had a nice conversation, and clearly nothing happened. And then the next day we see them at the bottom of in the lobby, and Deacon comes out and he sees them being very affectionate, but not inappropriate, but maybe one could think you could go either way. You could go either way.
They were warm and friendly and fuzzy.
But you could go
Especially
either
the
way.
last time when she had fired him.
Yeah.
Before
they
that.
were touchy-feely. She was wearing his hat, but it ended with an appropriate hug. Somebody else came up to them. He walked away. It was like, okay, but because he is extra sensitive to the subject, he of course went down the path of and then confronted her in front of the
I remember saying this last week. All he needs to do is communicate his feelings, though, and like.
But that's the.
She's got to open up. She's got to open up.
I gotta disagree with you. I feel like
he
has communicated, and every time like she never just goes to him. Why couldn't she? He's asked her like something's wrong with you. He knew that she was having the breakdown on stage. She won't talk to him about things.
But
she always pushes.
She said she wanted no strings.
This is classic.
Rayna.
Like writing, though. I mean, if he just said how he felt and how she felt, we wouldn't have anything to watch.
Well, right.
So
they just run off into the sunset together, and then who cares about
galloping on horses
This
to
is our way
Cowboy
to
Take Me Away.
analyze
They
their
would write a love song
relationship.
that's happy this time.
No, but it's true. Like, for Deacon, that would have taken so much more of her, like, just emotions to talk to him about this. It would have opened up whole other doors. Deacon would have been there. That would have opened up the whole relationship situation. She didn't need to do that. She had to speak to her kids. She had to speak to Teddy. And then it'll come, hopefully, eventually.
I think that she essentially was trying to avoid Deacon because she knew she would like implode essentially, and then she drank. Which, by the way, if you drink when you're emotional, you're gonna still do the same result.
She always drinks with Liam,
right? But so then she drinks with Liam, thinking it's gonna be all peachy keen, and ends up exploding on him anyway with tears and all that weirdness.
And it just gets bad.
Yeah.
But so see, you end up in the same path. It's just your means that you get there, and
Exactly.
she could have gone to Deacon, and it would have been a little bit quicker.
But that's going to happen later. They got to stretch it out.
They have to.
Exactly.
And she had to, she was obviously stressed out about this coming talk to her children and Teddy, and
Understandably so. That was quick for Teddy just to be like, let's do it. Let's bring it on him. I mean,
do it.
It
they
was like
didn't have
one
a
day later.
conversation about it. They haven't sat down and really discussed, like, how's this going to affect them? How are we going to handle it?
that's what gave her the nervous breakdown.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and what about him calling her and saying that right before she's getting ready to go
Why
on
do
stage?
people? I mean, they clearly know her schedule. She's away. She's performing. It's nighttime. She has a show. And her sister calls too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't care.
I mean, let's talk about good old Tandy.
What is that short for?
Like
Miranda?
Tandiana.
Tandana. No.
We don't know.
Bing it and let us know, everybody.
Seriously.
And then you can let us know on iTunes. How about
While you're on iTunes, you know what else you should do?
you should rate and comment. Give us a 10 stars.
I would like to make a
That's
challenge,
possible.
actually, to our iTunes listeners to step it up with the comments and the ratings, because our YouTube viewers killing it with the comments. We had like 19 from the last episode you guys did, which I was not here for, sadly. But like, people are like talking to us and are our friends.
Let's give them something to talk about.
Come on, guys.
There's lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
Tune into our show, and then rate and comment on iTunes. Tell a friend. It keeps the lights on. We love to hear what you have to say, good and bad.
True
Keep
story.
the conversation going. There's
Join
so
in the
much
predictions. Do
so
it.
much to talk about in this show. Clearly, we're probably like even missing some things that you guys probably caught. So let us know what you think.
We're just
please.
really focused on Deacon. So
and maybe you guys want to point out.
maybe you guys like,
Another-
maybe you're gunner type people.
Maybe
we
you
don't
can
know.
understand everything Scarlett says.
Please help us decipher.
That's fine.
Translator.
We need it. We need it.
Scarlet translator.
I don't know,
Okay,
though.
so-
The Teddy Peggy thing was kind of a crazy thing when, I mean, I think Peggy's trying to play like the cool card, like, oh, I'm just calling to say hi. And then as soon as she found out he's like, I asked Rayna for a divorce. And she was like, oh.
Well,
She
she
like,
automatically jumped in and was like, I understand if we can't like see each other anymore. Like that's
Which
their
I
first-
respected of her to do.
Yes.
Like to be like, okay, we just did this whole scenario.
But then he's like, and then
No.
she kind of got soft, like, I miss seeing you. And he's like, I miss you too, right? When the oldest daughter comes in and hears
Maddie.
this conversation.
Deacon's daughter.
Maddie, yep. Now the thing is, that was another surprise because we thought, oh no, that she's gonna overhear something about who her real dad is, and so you know, and you see her you see how she starts to act around her dad after that too. When they sit down and have the talk, she kind of ignores him. She walks past. She knows what's coming.
She knows she's old enough to understand, and then she ends up telling her mom, and that's how the episode kind of ended. But we see that she has this information, and it's clearly eating away at her, you know.
I mean,
Understandably,
Of
like I
course,
can't
yeah.
even believe what she's 12 maybe,
Yeah.
10, 12 years old, and to
Yeah.
like overhear your dad talking to another woman
and says her name.
that
I mean,
he just
had he
feels
not
right
said
with
the
her.
name,
Yeah.
had he not said the name, well, actually, it would have been interesting. A twist would have been if he never said it was Peggy. She heard that conversation, and then they said they were getting divorced, and she was like, "But you were on the phone the other night
would
saying
have
you
said-
missed each other."
She would have still known, yeah.
It would have all
Yeah.
come out.
I like that it came to Rayna through the daughter though, and not through Teddy. I wanted
Yes.
Teddy to be the man, but for
Yeah.
like story wise, like I
Me
I
too,
liked
right.
it.
Wait,
That's
meanwhile,
what she
all that stuff
overheard.
that's coming out about Teddy and Peggy, and she was like, maybe we should have stayed together or whatever it was. Wait, I thought we all denied that we were ever together. Wasn't
no,
that the
we
whole
didn't
thing?
know for sure. We
Yeah.
assumed.
No, because
We
I think someone
assumed.
asked.
Well, I think they were talking. They've been with the Cumberland deal, and that's how we saw them together. But we were like, they must have.
There
dated
must have
in
been
the
something
past.
before. And I think they did allude to something that, like,
Yeah.
when they were much younger.
But I thought like the what's his name, Lamar? I think Lamar and
we haven't
Tandy.
seen him in a while.
No, I'm okay with that. He's annoying. He's mean.
I mean, clearly he's coming into play
yeah.
with all this
Yes.
happening.
all the
That's
divorce stuff.
think we
But
all-
He
I
has
feel
an
like
opinion.
Tandy and Lamar had asked something. They were like, well, what are these pictures about? And did something happen before? And he's like, no, nothing.
Well, and maybe he just didn't want to, who knows, go into it. But I think there was some sort of allusion to something that had happened before, but maybe not. But, I think what they're writing is trying to do here is they're trying to flip-flop you back and forth. Like, Teddy clearly was neglected in the relationship emotionally, and we saw in the last episode how he could have fallen into her arms. It's not right to cheat, but we saw how that somebody could want the things that she was offering him, and that's how it happened. And now they're turning it around and making him look like the ASS.
Which I told you at the beginning when he was like calling her right before a show, and he's like, "We've got to do this
Yeah.
now," and it's like you're hiding something, like you're trying
Right.
to
Yeah.
escape her finding out that you had an affair on her,
Right.
And it's gonna come out, and it makes him look bad because he needs to be honest. She's been honest to him no matter what. I do
She's
give her
making
that.
out with guys and, and stuff.
After she's getting a divorce, I do not even.
But
I
consider
agree.
it
I think he was
similar.
worried that like if
But
he
she-
hung out with Peggy
Someone's
again,
gonna
they'd
find
get
out.
snapped with him, and
It could
she would
be.
start asking questions, and then
Exactly.
she would confront him about whether he had sex with her. Or
I
not.
agree, and he
Exactly.
could
was
be
hiding
covering
from it.
his butt. I get that, but at the same time, Rayna, let's remember, this entire time has basically been leading him on their whole relationship.
Right.
Come on,
He
that's
knows. He knew exactly what he was.
Yeah, but
in.
he's
But he
also been
was
lying to her
trying-
the whole time
he
too.
was
So
trying-
it's both of them.
Yeah, they're meant to not be together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening,
Right.
which is good.
And I think that,
Amen.
Amen.
And we're glad, we all were in agreement that we are glad that they played that song over, we touched on it for a second, over the divorce talk with the kids, because we just didn't need to hear it, and we knew what they were saying, and it was nice to just kind of graze over that. And now we'll see in the next episode how Rayna's going to deal with this information that her daughter gave her, and kind of crappy that her daughter had to be the one.
But could you not see in her face, like, her stomach just dropping, like feeling sick about this, like she's been lied to? She never thought Teddy was going to lie to her.
I couldn't see that, actually.
I see more in his eyes with acting, and with Rayna, I just see like stone cold face.
I think she does great at showing her.
I'm not saying she's not a good actress. I'm just saying she's very stone cold to me, and she likes to make choices as an actress to like keep it in and like play cool, especially when Juliette pisses her off. She's like,
it's just what she has to do, though,
It seems a little soapy, where it's kind of like...
It's a good choice for her. But I think she makes that choice, whereas Teddy, I feel like, is a little bit more expressive with what he's covering, in my opinion.
His feelings seem a little bit more realistic. Hers seem a little bit distant.
She's distant. She's like a distant glaze in her eyes.
She's
so.
just like,
Anyway.
I still felt, maybe it's because, if you feel anything like something like that, if you feel betrayed, you feel
felt
your
it
stomach
for
drop.
her,
I did. But I saw it.
I saw it in her face this time,
definitely
too.
saw
And I think
it.
also coming from her daughter, that was like double, because she felt
right.
sorry
She
for
was
her daughter that
protecting
she's
her.
in the middle of it. And then,
I feel like they could make this into like it was like a dramatic movie, this episode. Like a dramatic...
Lifetime
movie. Speaking of movies, by the way, we have an exciting announcement here at AfterBuzz. Our CEOs, Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro, have made a wonderful film called Serial Buddies. And it is a really, really funny movie about two serial killers who meet and become friends, and wackiness ensues. Like, it's great. It's kind of like Dexter meets Dumb and Dumber is like a good way to describe it. Who doesn't want to see that?
We do. After an episode of Nashville like that, let's go for something funny.
When could we see it?
We can see this on March 8th. And if you're in cities like New York, LA, Boston, Chicago, or San Fran, they're playing all over there. But you should definitely go to www.serialbuddies.com, and you can follow it just to see tickets and any information. And definitely follow Maria Menounos on Twitter and at serial_buddies. And you can get tons of information, updates, and look for, the movie has great like guest stars like Christopher Lloyd, Kathy Lee Gifford's hilarious, so definitely check it out. It's super funny. And after maybe watching a serious episode like Nashville, you just want to like laugh, and this is one of those things you can laugh at. Serial Buddy's gonna be good. Check it out, please.
Can't wait.
Love it.
All right. Anything else from this episode, ladies, you want to bring up?
You know what? I actually looked up the origin of candy.
Thank you.
It looks like it's a derivative of Andrew. So I can... Andrew. So maybe like Andy. Go into candy.
But that's weird though, because she's a girl.
So maybe her name's
Andrea?
Like Andrea or something, or Andrea. Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
See, I wasn't so off with Miranda.
How funny.
All right. Well,
I don't know about that.
Well,
yes.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move to predictions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
The best part.
Who?
What you got, Lauren?
Yeah,
Oh,
go for
geez. Okay. I think that Rayna's gonna flip her lid about Peggy. Flip her lid, and I think she's gonna use it against him. And I think Lamar's gonna try and cover it up, and I think Rayna's gonna be like, no, and she's gonna be all about like announcing it or not even trying to hide it. And I think maybe it's gonna give her a little take off some of the guilt for all the years that she's been having these feelings for Deacon and whatever she's been doing behind closed doors. I think she's gonna try and put the focus on him, like, oh, you did this one thing, so that's she's not gonna let her dad cover it up, and she's gonna flip out.
Yeah. She definitely doesn't look like the bad one in this situation.
She doesn't.
Mine, I kind of mentioned before, I think Gunner, because obviously we saw Jason was lying about his gun. He still has it in his bag. I think Gunner's going to end up on the wrong side of this and get in some trouble, which is going to be really it's going to be hard for Scarlett and Gunner to kind of succeed with Waddy if this happens.
I agree with that prediction.
I predict that we won't understand Scarlett in the next episode.
I
think
don't
you win.
Where are you?
Successful.
That's absurd.
I agree with Whitney, and like we called that, I think, 2 weeks
Yes.
ago, that I think Gunner's getting in trouble. And I also think Deacon's going to shut the door on Rayna for a little bit.
Good call.
I agree. I also, to talk about Rayna and her like weird emotional thing that's going on right now, I think that she's going to sort of like shut down on her life because she sort of didn't want to deal with her sister. She didn't want to deal with anyone. I think she's actually going to shut down like she does with that blank stare. And
distant.
Then
blank.
I think she may go on a bender.
Ooh, she's kind of opening the door to that right now,
Right.
so
Yeah,
that could happen.
I think Homegirl is
And
going to go
Deacon could pull her out of it.
Yeah.
I think
Man,
so.
those poor kids.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Well, we won't be here next week, but we'll see you guys again in 2 weeks.
Yay, we can't wait.
Tune into Nashville. See you then.
Thanks for watching.
Where can we find you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
At home in bed, it's late.
I know, right?
I am at jjjurgens.com and JJ Jurgens on Twitter.
And I am at Lauren Leonelli on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and my website.
I'm at Whitney Lane 1118 on Twitter and whitney-lane.com.
I'm at Jen the Jew on Twitter, Instagram, and JeniferGolden.com is my website.
Yay.
See you soon.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.